So Hare Krishna. So we welcome you back all today. And today we will speak something about Barsana, which is Vrishabhanu Maharaj or also Radharani's residence. Initially they were staying in Raval and then they shifted to Barsana. In between they were staying in a place called Ral also, from Raval to Ral and from Ral to Barsana. So all Radha Krishna pastimes, they started after Vrishabhanu reached Barsana and Nanda Maharaj reached Nandagram. So Barsana is a beautiful place, a pretty big mountain. Like you have to climb up 225 steps to go to the main temple, that is Radharani's house, of Vrishabhanu Maharaj's house on the top of a small mountain. And this mountain is like 1 kilometer in length. And it has 4 major peaks. This mountain is also called Brahmanchal Parvat. Lord Brahma has assumed the form of a mountain in Braj, in Barsana. Because Brahmaji has 4 heads, this mountain has 4 peaks. They are known as Bhangad, Dangad, Mangad and Vilasgad. So Bhangad is the peak where Vrishabhanu Maharaj has his house on it. Radharani has her house on it, being daughter of Vrishabhanu. That is, the main temple in Barsana is located on Bhangad, which is known as Shriji Mandir, Shriji temple. And there are few places around the mountain, on the land around it. There is Pili Pokhar, there is Vrishabhanu Kund, there is Radharani's Bagichi, then there is Jal Vihar Kund, there is Radha 1, there is Dohini Kund, there is Gehvar 1, then there is all Ashtasakhis, the 8 Sakhis, main Sakhis. They have their residences within 2-3 kilometers of Barsana all around. There are villages, different villages within a radius of 3 kilometers. They are scattered around Barsana, the Ashtasakhi villages. Indulekha Sakhi's house is at Anjanok. Champaklata's house is at Karela. Vishakha Sakhi's house is at Kamai. Sudevi Sakhi's house is at Sunehra. Lalita Sakhi's house is at Uchagaon. Chitra Sakhi's house is at Chiksoli. Ranga Devi's house is at Rankoli. And Tunga Vidya's house is at Dabara. The Ashtasakhis, they have their Ashtasakhi villages around Barsana within a radius of 3 kilometers, all around Barsana, scattered around Barsana. And there are few more places also related to Radha Krishna Leela. Normally, when one visits Barsana, they may visit the main temple only, or if they have some more time, they may walk on the top of the mountain and visit 3-4 more places which are on the top of the mountain. So as I said, there are 4 peaks of the Barsana mountain: Bhangad, Mangad, Vilasgad and Dangad. So Bhangad has Vrishabhanu's house, Radharani's house. Then Dangad has a temple called Radha Dan Bihari, and just besides that temple is a new Kushal Bihari Jaipur temple. Mangad has Man Mandir, that is the third peak. First is Bhangad with Radharani's house, Dan Bihari, Dangad, Man Mandir or Mangad, and Vilasgad. There is Vilasgad, there is another temple there. In between Vilasgad and Man Mandir, there is a temple called Morkuti. And between Morkuti and Vilasgad, there is the mountains, both side mountains come down a little, and they form a passage, like between two mountain slopes. That is called Sankari Khor. Khor is a passage between two mountain slopes, and Sankari means narrow. This narrow passage between two mountain slopes. This Sankari Khor. So all these places are there, and one can visit these places, and there are many more which I may mention if we finish speaking about all these places in today's time. There is Moti Kund also in Barsana, where Radharani tried to do farming of motis, of pearls, but it was unsuccessful. Krishna also did farming of pearls, that was successful. So there is Moti Kund in Nandagram also. So, as I said, Barsana, the main temple is Radharani's or Vrishbhanu Maharaj's house. Dan Bihari. The next one, if you walk out from there, this Radha Dan Bihari on Dangad. Just 1 minute before Dan Bihari is the Kushal Bihari, or known as Jaipur temple, which is a new one, which is not 5,000-year-old. All other places are 5,000-year-old Leela places. This Jaipur temple or Kushal Bihari temple is around 500 or 400 years old, or 500 years old. That time the Jaipur or Rajasthan was ruled by Rajput kings, and the king was a devotee of Radharani. He used to frequently visit Barsana and used to serve Radharani in Barsana. But when a king comes, all his complete entourage comes. So the king saw in those days, the Barsana main temple, which we see today, was not the way it was. It was a small, broken down room-like thing, neglected and ignored. It's around more than 400 years back. And in those days, there was no electricity, no proper roads or something like that. People used to travel on bullock carts or horse carts or horses or something like that. So he thought that Radharani is a princess or queen of Braj. She should have a big palatial house, not a small like this broken down. So he built this big palatial temple. Temple looks like palace. It has. In the middle is temple, all around are rooms, you can say, like quarters for the king to stay and his entourage to stay, so that they can serve Radharani properly. Some pujaris can stay there. And then he shifted the Radha Krishna deity from the small broken down old 5,000-year-old original temple into this new temple, which is like 500 meters. The distance between the two is like 400 or 500 meters. So after a week, Radharani came in the dream of this Rajput king and told him that, you see, you send me back in my old place. I am not happy here because this is not my house. I don't want something big, opulent, palatial or something like that. I want to stay in my house. Maybe it is broken, neglected, or whatever, small, doesn't matter. I am happy in my house. Send me back in my house. So the king had no other option to send her back. And then he decided to renovate that, and that is what we see today. So although he renovated the old place later on, he had initially built a palatial temple for Radharani, which Radharani did not accept. So now that temple was ready, but because Radharani moved back to the old house, it was empty. So he got a new Radha Krishna deity set from Jaipur and named them Radha Kushal Bihari and installed them in that temple. It is called Kushal Bihari. Kushal means everything is fine, all is well. Because Radharani stayed there for 1 week, few days. Anyone who comes there, everything with him is Kushal, just by visiting that place. Everything in your life will be Kushal. That is why it's called Radha Kushal Bihari. Just by his darshan, everything in your life will be Kushal, means everything will be fine and well, always. But you have to take proper darshan of Radha Kushal Bihari, not go there and take selfies and all these things. That is the problem. People don't benefit by darshan. People say, oh, what is darshan? Doesn't help because you don't technically do proper darshan. You are more interested in selfies and so many other things. You are more troubled by the climate. You are thinking of where I can buy water. You are thinking when we will go back and when we can have prasadam. And Kushal Bihari, okay. What does it matter to me? Fine, this is Kushal Bihari. I understood. So that is the problem. We are not doing anything technically properly. Forget about chanting. We are not even taking darshan properly. So everything has its importance in devotional life. So it's Radha Kushal Bihari, just besides Radha Dan Bihari on Dangad. So Radha Dan Bihari, there is one special thing about this Dan Bihari deity, that Krishna, Dan Bihari Krishna in this Radha Dan Bihari temple is in a gopi dress, not in a dhoti kurta or something like that. Or he is in a gopi dress with bangles, with what you call Mangal Sutra in his neck, like that. Oh, the Leela about this is that there was one poor Brahmin, Brajvasi Brahmin, poor Brajvasi Brahmin like me, who was staying in Uchagaon, which is Lalita Sakhi's village. In Krishna's time, this was in Krishna's time. And he had a daughter whose marriage was fixed and was supposed to be conducted in a few months. But the Brahmin had no provision to conduct the marriage ceremony, means no funds or nothing. So he was worried, his wife was worried, like in a few months the daughter will be married, already everything is fixed. And we don't have any arrangement to conduct the marriage ceremony. The wife would always tell him, try something, make some arrangement, otherwise the day of the marriage will come and what will we do? The marriage will be cancelled if you cannot conduct the marriage. So anyhow, the Brahman was very honestly and sincerely trying to collect some funds by trying to get some donations or trying to get some religious spiritual works, engagements. Nothing was working. He was not able to collect any money. Just whatever, some small money sometimes he would get, that was going into taking care of the family. So finally, 1 week before the marriage date, the wife one day got very angry because till now there was no provision to conduct the marriage ceremony. As soon as the Brahmin woke up, she just kicked him out of the house immediately. He was out of bed and on the streets. And she said, just get lost. What is the use of such a husband? We can live without you. If you cannot arrange for so many months, we are telling you, we are not, now 1 week is remaining, you have not arranged anything. Why do we need you? We don't need you anymore. Get lost. And if you cannot make any arrangement for the marriage ceremony till today evening, don't come back home. Get out now. So the Brahmin knew that today is very serious, He was out of bed and on the streets immediately. He didn't know what to do. But being acquainted in all scriptures, scriptural knowledge, he knew that finally, at the final moment, only Krishna can help you. One has to approach Krishna. So he tried to find out where is Krishna, and he got the news that Krishna is on Dangad in Barsana. So he came there, he saw Radha and Krishna sitting there together. He approached Krishna and spread his hands like this. Now, this is a begging gesture. So, asking some alms, begging for some help. So Krishna looked around here and there. He said, hey, come on, like, I am equally beggar like you. I have no property. What do I possess? But let me think. And he looked around here and there. And Radharani was sitting with him. He just held Radharani's hand and handed it over to the Brahmin. He said, this is my only property and I can donate this to you. This is your donation. So as soon as this happened, Radharani fell unconscious on the ground. And the Brahmin sat there and started crying. Just sat there on his knees and started crying. So Krishna didn't understand what's happening. Radharani fell unconscious. The Brahmins just sat down there and started crying. And in a few minutes, the gopis who were around, they got the news that Krishna has donated Radharani. So they all came around and they surrounded Krishna and they started fighting and arguing with Krishna. How can you donate Radharani? Someone started punching Krishna on the chest, someone on the back. Someone is pushing him. Hey, what do you think? Is Radharani your property? How can you donate her? Get her back and this, that. So Krishna was in trouble. Radharani is unconscious near his feet. Brahman is sitting at his feet and crying vigorously. And gopis have surrounded him and they are angry and they are shouting and screaming and chastising him, punching him on his chest and back and shoulders. So anyhow, the gopis were not in a mood to listen to anything. Radharani was unconscious. So he asked the Brahmin, he said, why are you crying? So the Brahmin said, why I should not cry? I am already troubled because I don't have funds to conduct the marriage ceremony of my daughter, which is supposed to be conducted in the next 1 week. And I thought I just came to you for some help. Even if you have given me one of your ornaments, it would have taken care of my daughter's marriage ceremony. But instead you gave me this another girl in donation. No, I cannot take care of one girl, one daughter. No, what I will do with this second girl or second daughter if I take her? I cannot take her. And if I take her back home, you don't know what will happen. My wife is already so angry. And I go and tell her that I got a second daughter in donation. So Krishna said, okay. So that means you don't want her. You don't need this donation. I said, no. I don't need. So Krishna was happy that at least now Radharani can be reclaimed. But once you donate something to someone, you cannot take it back basically unless the receiver doesn't want it. So here the receiver doesn't want it, that is okay. But still you cannot take it back just like that. You have to give equal amount of jewelry, gold, silver, like this, equal weight, let's say equal weight of gold, silver and diamonds and rubies and jewelry, all this. So it was decided that an exchange offer will take place. Radharani will be taken back and equal weight of Radharani jewelry will be given to the Brahmin by Krishna. So they made a balance there with two sides, and one side Radharani was sitting. So other side Krishna started putting all his jewelry. Krishna put all his jewelry on the other side, but still Radharani was heavy. Krishna has so much jewelry and ornaments from the head and ears and neck and arms and wrists and waist and ankles. And Krishna was surprised that even after placing all my so much heavy jewelry on one side, still Radharani is heavy. How come? Why it is not equalizing or getting? Why the jewelry part is not heavier? So Krishna looked at Radharani to see what's happening, and Radharani pointed with her eyes to Krishna's flute, which was also of silver, which Krishna had kept back. Yes, he had kept everything else. So because that was of silver flute. So Krishna kept that flute there, and immediately it was leveled. This side became heavy. So the Brahman happily collected all the jewelry and everything, and he went back home because now he had all the funds which could conduct his daughter's marriage. And Radharani was back, so she was happy, and gopis were okay, happy. And now Krishna said, "Okay, let me go. I have to go with the cows for the grazing job." So Radharani Gopis said, "No, no, no. How can you go like this? You have committed a big mistake today, and that is you have donated Radharani. How can you donate Radharani? What do you think? Is she your property? So you have to undergo a punishment. You have to accept a punishment for that, so that you will understand you should not repeat a mistake. You realize that you made a mistake and you don't repeat a mistake. That's why you have to undergo a punishment." Prabhupada also writes in one of the purports of Bhagavad Gita. It is the very first sentence of the purport in Bhagavad Gita, in second chapter. I don't remember the shloka number, but second chapter, some shloka purport, first two lines is that punishment is necessary. Prabhupada says, for realizing the mistake, and then that there is no repetition of the mistake. But nowadays you cannot punish children, you cannot punish so many things, humanitarian values, this, that. You cannot punish terrorists because some humanitarian organizations will say, "Oh, take care of him nicely, this, that. He killed 500 people in 1 second, one shot, 1 minute, and they want you to take care of him nicely." So this is problem. So Krishna said, "Okay, what is the punishment?" They said, "Today you are not going anywhere, you are not going with your friends, you are not going to graze the cows, nothing doing. The whole day you have to spend with us today." Krishna said, "That is very good. I can spend the whole day with you all gopis." They said, and they started immediately pulling out his clothes and everything. They said, "No, no, no, not like this. It's not so easy." They pulled out his dhoti, they removed his chadar and everything, and they put him a gopi dress and a blouse and a dupatta with a covering the head like this a little bit, pallu and everything. They put him bangles, they put him a Mangal Sutra. They said, "You have to be with us like this. You cannot stay with us the whole day in your Krishna form. What will people say? One boy staying with all these young girls throughout the day. So you have to stay like this. No one should understand." So it was so irritating, and it was so funny basically, but irritating for Krishna. And not only that, every few minutes, every 15 minutes, every half an hour, some gopi would come and irritate Krishna more. Some gopi would come and lift the pallu and look at Krishna's face, and she was, "Oh my God, such a beautiful gopi. She has a face like a moon, even beautiful than the moon. But the moon in the sky is white, and this is a black moon. Kala Chand. She's Kala Chand." I think there is one temple in America, Radha Kala Chandji. That is Kala Chand, black moon. And someone would come and they would see, they should ask, "Okay, what is your name?" Oh, and then they would see the Mangal Sutra. So, "Okay, who is your husband? Please tell us your husband's name. Let us know who." Krishna was already irritated. He said, "Come on, get lost. What difference does it make? What What is important to you? No. What difference it will make if you know who my husband is? Actually, there was no husband, so he cannot name anyone. So, no, please, please, please tell us who is your husband. No, get lost, get lost. Why do you want to know who is my husband? And some Gopi will say, see, we want to know which boy from our Braj, married you. Please tell us, please tell us. No. It doesn't make any difference if you know or don't know. What is the use of you knowing who is my husband? No, we just want to know. We just want to know who is this, boy from our Braj who is so foolish that he married you. Then someone would say, okay, you are married means you have a mother-in-law. So how is your relationship with mother-in-law? Is everything okay? Is she crazy nut, or what are you suffering, or is she nice or loving? This is a juicy topic. Relationship of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, a very juicy topic for Matajis. When two old Matajis meet, they talk about daughter-in-law, and when two young Matajis meet who are just married, they will talk about their mother-in-laws. So in this way, all day Krishna was getting irritated in different ways by the gopis, and finally at the end of the day, at around 5 o'clock in the evening, the gopis freed him. They gave him back his clothes. Krishna just changed back into his clothes and just ran away, like, I'm now freed from all these troubles. So that's why there is Radha Dan Bihari temple there. So the only temple in the world where Krishna is wearing a gopi dress, has bangles, has Mangal Sutra in his neck, and this. Yes, he's like a gopi there. Next time you visit, you can see this properly. So just besides Dan Bihari, there are, as I said, Dan Bihari is on Dangad, the second mountain peak. The third mountain peak is Vilasgad, where Radha Krishna would have confidential meetings. Many pastimes there also. And then Mangad is on Man Mandir and Mangad, which is a place for anger pastimes. When Radharani would be angry, she would go and stay on Mangad. So Krishna, when you understood that Radharani is angry, he knew where is Radharani to find her. She will be in Mangad. So there would be fixed place, and when she will be angry, she will be in Mangad. If you go to Ayodhya now, there is a big temple they are building at birthplace. But there is a Kanak Bhavan, there is a Kaushalya's Bhavan, there is Kaikai's Bhavan, there is Dasharath's, and so many different palaces around. And there is one Kopagriha or Kopagar or something like that. Kopa means anger. So there is one anger palace. So when the queens would be angry, some of the queen may be angry with Dasharath or for some reason, for any reason, she would go and sit in Kopagar or Kopagriha. So Dasharath, when he would like to find some queen here, there, and he wouldn't find, and then some servant would say, oh, this Kaikai is sitting in Kopagriha. Then Dasharath knew there is some problem. So then he has to go to Kopagriha to pacify her. So the importance of this is, like, when she is Kopagriha, Dasharath understands now he has to approach the queen in some different way, not like a normal way. Similarly, Krishna, when he knows that Radharani is at Mangad, that means there is some problem. It's not easy now to approach her. She is angry with me, or something wrong, something went wrong. So everyone has different styles to be angry, to, what do you say, to show that you are angry, to project your anger. So this is Man Mandir. There is anger Leela place. One time when Radharani was angry and Krishna wanted to pacify her, he came on Man Mandir to meet her, because by meeting her he could pacify her. But she was surrounded by gopis and Ashtasakhis, primarily all the gopis, Lalita, Vishakha, basically the head of all these Ashtasakhis. When they saw Krishna, they said, "I get lost of here, get lost from here. Why have you come here? I need to meet Radharani. She is angry. I can meet her. I want to meet her and pacify her." No, no, no. She is so angry with you. Now, if she will see you, she will be more angry with you. This is a natural tendency. If you are angry with someone and if you see that person again, you become more angry with that person. So they just shooed Krishna away. They said, "No, no, no. Get lost. Not now." But Krishna wanted to meet Radharani, because he was thinking, until I don't meet her and I don't speak to her some nice things, how she will be okay. I need to pacify her. So Krishna came in the form of a flower selling man, flower and garlands. He brought some flower. I have some nice flowers and nice garlands. You can like to see. Radharani wants to see some garlands. And when he came near Lita Vishakha, they recognized him. He had a turban, and he has hid his turban, his flute in the turban, but somehow it was tip of the flute was poking out of the turban. He said, "Hey, you came back again. We told you not to come here." Radharani is so angry, "Just get lost. Why are you doing all these things?" So somehow he was caught. They recognized, and he had to go away again. Then he came with a sweet basket like a sweet man. I'm sweet seller, and I'm sweet seller. Then there are some nice sweets, nice juicy sweets from milk. And again he was caught, and again he was kicked out. Then he came back again with gopi dresses. Person who is selling gopi dresses, I have nice gopi dresses, and please see some gopi dresses. Again he was caught. Again he was kicked out like this. Different 4-5 times he tried to come in different ways, different. One time he came as a bangle seller, nice bangles, different color bangles. Again Lalita Vishakha found out, caught him, sent him back. Finally he was many times he tried, he was unsuccessful in reaching up to Radharani. The gopis would just find it out, and they just kick him back and send him back again, kick him out. So at the end he fell at the feet of Lalita Vishakha. I said, "You see, somehow you have to arrange a meeting between me and Radharani. Otherwise, how can I pacify her? How she will be normal?" So they said, "Okay, you go down to Krishna Kund. There is Krishna Kund in between Morkuti, and as I said, in between Morkuti and Vilasgad, there is Sankari Khod. In between Morkuti and Mangad, there is Krishna Kund, and the Gahevarvan border starts from there. Nice Kund." So they said, "You just go down Krishna Kund and you take a form of a nice, beautiful peacock and stay there. We'll send Radharani there to meet you." So Krishna went there, took form of a peacock, and he was just walking around Krishna Kund waiting for Radharani to come, because his gopis had promised that we'll send Radharani to meet you. And then Lalita Vishakha started discussing amongst themselves, both of them. I just went to Krishna Kund. There is such a beautiful peacock there. It's extremely amazing, enchantingly beautiful. And another gopis were listening. What? There is a yes, you can go and see. So a few gopis went to see. They saw this beautiful peacock. They came back up. They started telling and discussing. So a big discussion and gossip started going on about a beautiful peacock at Krishnapur. So an angry person, although he is angry, he doesn't speak, he's stubborn, like this, but he is hearing all what is going around him or her. So Radharani was hearing everything what was going on, and she also heard that everyone is discussing about a beautiful peacock on Krishna Kund. So she couldn't. What is happening? What is this peacock at Krishna Kund? Hey, this is such a beautiful peacock at Krishna Kund. You can go and see also. We went and saw this peacock. It is different. It is not like the ordinary peacocks. It is so beautiful, special. So Radharani also thought, okay, let me go and see this peacock. So she came down on Krishna Kund. Already everyone had seen, so they were up. And she saw this peacock around. So she was so attracted. She went near the peacock. She picked up the peacock and sat on one of the steps of the kund and placed the peacock on her lap. And she was just caressing the peacock. And immediately the peacock, it was Krishna, he assumed his original form, Krishna. So it was so surprising shock for Radharani. You sit with a peacock on your lap and caress it, and immediately it turns out to be some person. So Radharani, seeing this turn of events, Radharani could not control her amusement and she laughed out. So as soon as she laughed out, her anger was gone. So that's why you see when someone is angry, you try to make him laugh by telling different jokes or something like that. So she laughed out. Krishna tried to make her laugh and she laughed. So she lost all her anger and everything was okay. So this is one Man Mandir Leela. As I said, there are many times, many different times for different reasons. Radharani would be angry and there would be different Leela every time. Krishna trying to pacify her like that. This is Man Mandir, this is Man Bihari, Radha Man Bihari deity. And as I said, this is Krishna Kund in between Man Mandir and Morkuti. Morkuti is place for Radha Krishna peacock dance pastime. One time, Radha and Krishna, they were sitting there along with the gopis and everything. And there were many peacocks around and they were dancing. So just to have some fun with Krishna, Radharani said to Krishna, today Krishna, look at these peacocks. They are dancing so beautifully, so nicely. And you don't know at all how to dance. Nothing. You don't know anything about dance. Krishna is Natavar actually. He's the best dancer of all the creation. He was dancing on Kalia's hoods in a panicky situation for us. But for him, it was like a stage where he was dancing. So Krishna took up this challenge and he jumped off the seat where they were sitting and he performed a dance for a few minutes for Radharani and looked at Radharani and Radha said, no. But this is a dance. This is nothing compared to the peacocks. Look at the peacocks. What a beautiful dance there. You don't know anything. So Krishna again presented some another dance for another few minutes and looked at Radharani. And Radharani said, this is better than the last one. But you still need to learn a lot of things in dancing. You don't know anything about dancing. So Krishna, he had taken up the challenge. So he just took the form of a peacock and he started dancing in the form of a peacock. And when he started dancing in the form of a peacock, naturally he was dancing so beautifully, so enchanting, amazingly. All the peacocks who were dancing, they stopped dancing to see this Krishna peacock dancing. They said, oh, this is so beautiful. They were all mesmerized. They said, what is our dancing? Look at this dancing. So all the peacocks stopped dancing and started looking at Krishna's peacock dance, Krishna in the form of peacock dancing. And along with that, because they were so joyful to see this Krishna's peacock form, and in that he is dancing, all of the peacocks, hundreds of them, started making their sounds at the same time, simultaneously. Like if you have heard the peacock sound, they go loud, eow, 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 like this. So hundreds of them going on like this. You can imagine what a beautiful, wonderful, melodious music going on in the background with Krishna dancing made this scene very much more beautiful. So when there is nice music and someone is dancing, most of the people, they also feel like you see, if you have come to ISKCON Vrindavan, there is 24-hour kirtan going on. And visitors, as soon they enter the temple area and they start hearing the kirtan, they naturally start swaying, even before coming to the darshan area. They're swaying, they're so joyful, and then they hear this kirtan, they come. So it's natural when there is some nice music and some nice dancing and some like this, something going on, automatically you cannot control yourself. So Radharani, she could not control herself. She assumed a form of peacock and she started dancing along with Krishna. So both Radha and Krishna were dancing in the form of peacock, and in the background were all these hundreds of peacocks shouting in their voice with a wonderful background music. So this Leela took place there at Morkuti, Radha Krishna Peacock Dance. There are many more peacock related Leelas, few in Morkuti and around Barsana. So as well as Vilasgad, as I said, Vilasgad, Morkuti, and Man Mandir and Dan Bihari and the Bhangad, main temples on the top of the mountain. In between Morkuti and Vilasgad is Sankari Khor. So Radharani and the gopis would pass through this narrow passage between the two mountain slopes with their pots of butter, ghee, and yogurt to go to Mathura to sell their products. And Krishna would, it was like this, two mountain slopes and a passage. So Krishna would stand there blocking the path to collect taxes. And there would be many tax leelas there, arguments and disagreements and trying to avoid paying tax and trying to forcibly collect tax. And then rather than sometimes Krishna would be successful in because they would not pay taxes, Krishna would break their pots. So sometimes the gopis would catch hold of the Krishna and all the boys and punish them in different ways. So this is at Sankari Khor. There is some Sankari Khor Leelas also. Then there is Vrishabhanu Kund, Dohini Kund, Jal Vihar Kund, Pili Pokhar. Many places. Specifically, there is Dohini Kund. Dohini Kund is still very big Kund, but it is neglected now, breaking down, getting destroyed, ignored, neglected. Many places in Braj are ignored, neglected, vanishing. In the last 20 years, so many places have vanished. Some are on the way of vanishing. And in the next 5-10 years, few of them will vanish, disappear. No one is taking care. Dohini Kund is one of them. I don't know what will happen in future. Currently, it's on a ignored, neglected, vanishing state. So Dohini, Dohan means milking. Dohan. So Dohini Kund means it is the milking Kund. So Vrishabhanu had 11 lakh cows. Nanda Maharaj had 9 lakh cows. So Vrishabhanu would milk the cows all around this Kund, Dohini Kund. And the milk would be collected in the Kund. The Kund was full with milk every day morning. Fresh milk, Dohan from cows, from 11 lakh cows. And it would fill, they would put this milk in the Kund. Dohini Kund was not with water in Vrishabhanu's time, it was milk. And any citizen of Barsana was free to come there and take as much milk as they want. Free, no payment. This is what previously the kings used to do. The king means he is the Palan Poshan Karta of it. He has to see that everyone is properly fed. And previously, till Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Nanda Maharaj's time, cow products were never sold. And in scriptures, it is also mentioned that cow products should never be sold. Because the scriptures know the moment cow products you will start selling cow products, cow will be exploited. Because when you start selling, then comes the money matters and the profit. And to make more profit, you will exploit the cow. You will see how she can give you more milk, how you can make more profit, how you can spend less on the cow and get more milk. That is known as business. So when you start selling cow products, any cow products you start selling, then there will be exploitation of cow, there will be cheating, there will be so many things, there will be fake milk, means what you say, duplicate milk or something like that, and so many things. And then you will try to find out cows which will give you more milk, that is Jersey cow, which I mentioned to you in about the Mahaprasad lecture. So the Jersey cow came into existence because of that. And this is all the way. And then the cow doesn't give you milk, you will throw her out and old age she will die because you don't know how to use a cow dung. You just are thinking of the milk. You don't know the importance of cow urine and cow dung. You don't know the importance of the bulls because now you don't use the bulls. You have the tractors and everything and this and that and so many machinery. You don't need the bulls for farming. You don't need the bulls for bullock carts. You don't need the bull for extracting oil. You don't need the bulls for getting the water out of the well. Even water out of the well, there would be moat. The bull would go around. In my small childhood days, I have seen these moats working in my village, and I have seen only sugarcane juice extracting by bull. The man didn't do like this, like this. It was like this, and the bull would go around and extract sugarcane juice. The bull would go around and extract oil from oil seeds. So now nothing is there. Everything is machinery. Even you don't need men for that. So there is unemployment for. Forget about bulls. There is unemployment for men because one machine does work of hundreds and thousands of men. So they are all loitering around here and they are doing nothing. So this industrialization is killing so many people's jobs basically, and the product result of the industrialization is not natural. So that is harmful for and hazardous for the society, the environment, and pollution, and this and that, because the industry means you need fuel, and the fuel has pollution, so many things, so many problems. So Dohini Kund, milk, they would milk the cows, Vrishbhanu Maharaj, and just pour the milk in Dohini Kund, and anyone who needs milk should come there and just take the milk, whatever they want. Free of charge, no payment. Cow products are not supposed to be sold. So, this is the opulence. And if you see the kund, it is such a big, huge kund. Now it is dry, but still, the kund is there, deep kund. You can just go to the kund bed, walk around the kund, inside the kund. You can walk around inside the kund with high walls around you. So, this is Dohini Kund. Just besides that is Jal Vihar Kund, where Radha and Krishna would have Jal Vihar water sports pastimes. Then there is Radha Van. There is a small forest. The trees in the forest, there are still the trees which Radharani planted by her own hands. Radharani planted these trees by her own hands 5,000 years ago. Some of the trees are still there. It's Radha Van. Like this, Barsana has nice, beautiful places. So I would like to stop here today. And if anyone has any questions, you can unmute your mic. And any questions, any suggestions, complaints, opinions, views, everyone is welcome. Anyone has to say anything, you are most welcome. Thank you very much.